1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3.
That's great, Matt. Wow, that's a lot of fun. Hello and welcome to another edition of Speakeasy. And tonight, our featured performer is Matt Foley. Matt is a professional musician in the local Bay Area. He's also a teacher, plays a lot of performances, and we're just anxious to talk to him about this marvelous classical guitar. Matt, hi, welcome.
Hey. Hey, Rick.
What drew you to the classical guitar when everyone else is like playing rock and reggae and all this, and here you are with a classical guitar, no amplification? What did that?
Well, when I first started learning guitar about 6 years ago, I started teaching myself how to read. I thought that's what you were supposed to do, so I just started just like a basic book one, like a guitar method book. Book one, started to do some basic reading, just learning all the notes in first position. And then I came across just some classical guitar pieces, like simple, just like these type of things. Like these types of things.
It's beautiful, of course.
Yeah, and then I don't know, I just been like really attracted to that. And then after a while of doing that, I found a classical guitar teacher, Matt Grasso, lives in Davis, and he really kind of inspired me to take it further, and sort of try to make a career, a life out of it.
Bach said that the classical guitar is a mini orchestra, and you prove that to me every time you play. You bless me with that guitar, buddy. It's so cool. Another thing, it's very unusual. You have a 7-string classical guitar. Wow, that's unusual. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure.
What is the 7th string?
Well,
my low is an E, so do you have an E on the bottom?
My E would be here, like yours, 6th string, and then I have another string lower than that, a B. So I have a low. Well, you can actually tune it to different notes. A lot of times I'll have it at B.
I hope the camera can zero in on that. He's got an extension piece over the headstock, so he gets extra notes up here.
Yeah, so this instrument is actually called an extended 7-string guitar, which my teacher Matt Grasso came up with this idea because he would be doing transcriptions of like orchestral works, like he was telling me about. He did a transcription of Rachmaninoff's Symphony No. 2, well, one movement from that, and he said,
I can't even pronounce it, much less play.
yeah, and so he said he was working on that, and it just wasn't the 6-string it just wasn't doing the piece justice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So he decided to start doing 7-string, not just for that reason, but
Right.
that's one of the reasons. And then
It's a very novel idea.
yeah,
I play a 7-string jazz guitar, and I have a low A on it, but I don't have the extension piece. Like
yeah.
you do.
So that's why it's called an extended 7-string. So you have a lot more possibilities here. So you can move this, and so like this would be a low A now. You know, so you could, you know, now when you play like
Oh my
these
gosh,
sets of,
what flavor!
you know, instead of like, which still sounds good, you know, but and then also like when you're doing transcriptions, like I did this transcription of this violin sonata, well, the third movement from Bach's violin sonata in A minor. Usually, you know, it starts out like that, you know, because of course you don't have, this is your lowest C on
That's
the 6-string
correct,
guitar,
right.
but on a 7-string guitar you can have this low C here,
Oh
you know,
my
so you
gosh.
can do things like that, so you can sort of change it, sort of like so you can sort of do things
Beautiful,
like
Matt.
that.
It's just, doesn't it add a lot of richness
It's
to
great.
it, John?
It's actually not that novel a concept. It goes back to about the 16th century with an instrument called the lute theorbo,
Really?
which is a lute with the same kind of thing, extended range, a little catch. They had more bass strings than that, though. I saw a lute player on a TV show backing up Sting, and he was using one of those things, and my God, it sounded like two guitar players and a bass player all playing at once. One guy on a lute. Incredible. Just incredible.
Well, if we have any out in the studio audience and you'd like to be part of this, we'd like to have you bring that instrument and participate.
If anybody's got a lute out there, bring it in.
That's great. And Matt, who makes this guitar? This is you
this-
just don't walk into a shop and get a
No,
7-string classical guitar.
No, you can't. This particular guitar was actually built by a guitar builder in Fair Oaks near Sacramento named Waylon Carpenter, and I think he did a really good job on it.
Beautiful. It even has an extended fretboard, it looks
Right,
like.
yeah, so you can, like this would be like, a lot of guitars would just go up to like a high B, so then you have a C, C sharp, and D, just for more possibilities.
Can you play just a little something up there to just give us an idea of what it would sound like?
Okay, well, like, usually when you play this high, you're not like, you know, it's not
an effect.
It's not for a sustain, you know. It's you know, you might be like, you know, up here like this. You know, also it kind of helps like when you're doing harmonics. You'll know right where that note is.
Beautiful.
So it kind of helps like that. Of course, you don't need that if you don't have that extension. You can still find it. It won't have a fret under it, so it'll be a little harder.
Oh, it's beautiful. You know, the woods have to be so unique, so balanced to handle the lows and the highs of that instrument, because you're going from one extreme to another.
Instrument like this was really designed for pickups, I think. With amplification would really bring that low note out. I'll bet all those lute players back in the Renaissance period and later would have loved to have had Marshall stacks. You know?
The only thing that would make that instrument more unique is if it was left-handed. And Matt, you also use a cushion of some sort when you play. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is called a dinarette, and
That's why my chords didn't sound good tonight.
yeah, it just like this is sort of the traditional classical position. It kind of it kind of takes, I think, you could play like this, just fine, but I think...
without the footrest.
Yeah, without this. But I think it makes it a little bit less tension like, in your arms and hands. And also, I find it's easier to reach these higher notes, when you have it like this, because it's more vertical, right? And then if it's like this, you're kind of like reaching this way. So it makes it a little easier for that too.
I think Dunlop for my picks, but you have fingernails that you use, right?
Yeah.
What do you shape them a certain way in order to?
Well, basically, I just try to kind of keep the curve of the pad of the finger.
Right.
I kind of use that shape to kind of guide the nail, how I file the nail.
I saw that in a book, classical book. It's called Pedagogy for Classical Guitar.
Oh, yeah?
And one time I was in Mexico City and we had classical performers from Spain come in and they wanted me to take them to a manicure so they could get the right angle, right curve on their fingernails. I thought that was rather interesting. Mm-hmm. It's cool. Yeah, can you demonstrate, you played a little bit of a cello piece for me.
Oh, yeah.
Can you do a little bit of that?
Sure.
Which, this is a cello, by the way, in the background.
Yep.
And,
okay.
this piece is so beautiful. It's written for the cello, and Matt's going to demonstrate some of the low notes on this guitar.
Yes, so this is called Prelude in G Major by Johann Sebastian Bach. Usually when guitarists play it, six-string guitarists, they'll tune their low E to a low D so that they can kind of get more range, of the cello, more cello range. But on this guitar, of course, you have a low C, which is the lowest note on the cello, right? So,
yes.
So you don't have to compromise like when you're playing things like that,
It's gorgeous.
So you don't have to compromise, but I could play a little bit. So.
Okay.
absolutely
That's
fantastic.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
To have that whole thing memorized, I'm lucky to do 32 bars, you know? This guy has
Thanks.
volumes of music memorized. You said a key factor earlier, and I want to make sure that students are aware of that out there. You said how important it was to read music, that drew you to it. And when you begin to read music, as many students try to fight that idea, you can see how it encompasses and how you start bringing in things and reach for things that you normally wouldn't have reached for because your ear doesn't take you there.
Yeah, I think that reading music is very, very important. But I also think that having a good ear is equally as important. It's just kind of going the other way, you know. But I think that reading music, especially for doing like arrangements for guitar, it's pretty much essential because you'll get the score, you know, and you have to know where all the C's are,
Exactly,
right?
all the positions.
All the
that's
positions.
Yes.
Like you have to know where all the notes are.
All the notes.
Because when you're making transcriptions, you have to.
You need a springboard, especially when you're ad-libbing. You need to have something to go from, and it's nice, okay, this is a C, okay, I can start. I have a starting place, and sometimes even an ending place.
And also you have to know the fretboard too, because then you have to know where the notes are, and then when they're on the score and when on the fretboard, you can put them together. Then you can do all kinds of combinations. You could play this C here, you could play C here.
Solo performing is such an art right now, and it's such in high demand. And John Fine has a song he's going to play for us. It's called Moonlight in Vermont. This is for soloists, solo guitar, and you can see what a unique instrument it is. You've heard it with Matt, and now in a jazz vein with John.
Yeah, this is going to be totally different. Now, Matt talks about reading, and I agree that reading is absolutely essential. I unfortunately had a guitar teacher that didn't teach me to read. She was a folk player. So I set about trying to read later, and I'm, to this day, not the greatest reader in the world, but my ears gotten me in and out of more trouble. So,
You're an amazing musician.
I can't take credit for this tune either. This is, Johnny Smith did the original version of this tune. And I don't know who wrote it. I'd have to look it up. I don't believe Johnny did. Moonlight in Vermont.
Beautiful. Contrast in styles. Jazz.
Well, totally different. I can't even begin to do what Matt does. It's just phenomenal to me to watch and listen to him. It's just the discipline involved in playing that style.
Where John and I were like learning tunes, classical guitarists take like 3 to 4 years to learn one song. I don't have that much patience.
Listen to how complex that stuff is. My God.
That's amazing to me. It's great.
And the other thing that I didn't know that you'd only been playing for 6 years.
Yeah, well, I've been playing guitar for about 6 years. I've been playing classical guitar for about 3 years.
When I'd been playing for 6 years, I was playing stuff that sounded like, and it was about all I could do to go. And that was probably about the best I could do after I'd been playing for about 6 years. So contrast it with this guy who's playing Bach cello pieces after he's been playing for 6 years. Man, phenomenal.
Way out there, Matt.
Yep.
That's great. Is there another little piece you'd like to perform for us?
Sure. Okay. I could play a piece written for 7-string guitar, I guess.
It's so great to hear this instrument. Thank you so much for bringing it.
No problem. Okay, so this is a piece written by my teacher, Matt Grasso, called Contemplation No. 3. So there are 3 in all.
Okay.
So
I was going to say there had to be a Contemplation 1.
there's 1 and 2, yeah.
Okay.
So this is Contemplation No. 3, and it's based off of kind of a different scale. It's based off a major scale with a flat 6 and 7. So it's it's based off a C major scale with flat 6. So it'd be like. So it has kind of that kind of flavor.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Just beautiful. It reminded me a little bit of Bolero, the way he's building it up and building it up.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gosh, fascinating to listen to you play.
Thanks.
Golly. Well, we'd like to thank you so much, Matt, for coming out and being part of this show. And John, as always.
Thanks for having me.
John, do you have a trivia question you'd like to ask our audience?
Oh man, you've sprung one on me. I really don't have anything regarding the theme of this show, which would be the classical guitar. It's not really my field of expertise.
Well, we'll have one next time.
Yeah, we'll try to figure one out.
And we're going to give you a web address, and if you answer the question correctly, we'll send you a guitar string. And hopefully from Dunlop, we'll have some picks made with John and Rick, and we'll send you one of those too. And Matt, let's go out with this song that we did earlier in the show, so I'll have something to play, okay?
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, ready, go.